another night of Facebook Live where we are talking about 360 healing and happiness. I'm so super excited that you're joining me tonight. So we're going to give everyone a chance to come on in, come on in, come on in. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I just want to greet you, and I would like for you to come in and tell me exactly where you're joining us from. Tell us your name and tell us where you are joining us from. Super excited because I have a very special guest for you tonight. So I want to make sure that you are here and that you want to hear everything that he has to say concerning our healing about money, our money blueprint. Listen, this is going to be information that you'll be able to take and just use and learn from it. So come on in. Valerie is here from Wilmington. Hey, Valerie. Bert, we're just going to give everyone an opportunity just to come on in and join us tonight as we talk with Mr. Bert Wright. Hey, Miss Nikki, Soul Sister Nikki is here. So as we talk to Mr. Bert Wright, who is, I want to say, a new friend. Bert, so just really fast, the first time I saw Bert was again at Speak and Write, didn't really know him. And then I think the first time Bert and I really talked was, I think it was last year when I came to the Encore and I wasn't feeling well. And Bert said to me, we'd arrived early because we were going to do the stand and deliver. And I was so sick. And you said, are you doing stand and deliver? And I was like, no, I don't think so. And anyway, I ended up being not feeling well that entire weekend. But I've always observed, I'm a very good observer. And I've always observed you. You've always been a man of integrity, so kind. He's one of the leaders at motivating the masses. He's an excellent leader. He's the leader of the volunteer, the gladiator service force. And so, Bert, you've just always been just so awesome, always an excellent example. And so I'm so honored that you would even take the time to come on, because I know that you're very, very busy, but yet you've taken the opportunity to just come and help me out. So I appreciate that very much. We've got people coming in. We've got Ashley from New York. And so what I would like to do, because of time, I don't want to keep anyone too long, and I certainly don't want to keep you too long. I want to honor your time. We're going to get started with our conversation. And again, guys, remember, as you're coming on, when you're listening to the replay, put hashtag replay, tell us where you're joining us from. Also, if you have any thoughts while you're here, any comments, we want you to ask, because this isn't a monologue, it's a dialogue. So please give your thoughts, give your input. Yeah, ask your questions, any questions. And listen, even if we don't have the answer, we can get you the answer. We can point you in the right direction to get the answer. And always also remember that this is always a courageous, delicious, juicy, forward-moving conversation. So Bert, thank you so much. I've just kind of introduced you. If you can just start off by telling us about yourself, that would be great.
Well, thank you, Esther, for having me on this call. It's always a pleasure to serve with my fellow tribe member, my new sister from another mister, as our coach would say in many ways there too. And I'm coming all the way here from California. And it's just my pleasure to be on this call with you today, Esther. And thank you for inviting me, because obviously, one thing, you could invite anybody else, but to ask me, I don't take that lightly in many ways. And so my short, quick story, many people know me, as Esther has alluded to, as his fearless leader of the gladiator service force.
Yeah.
That's somebody who is a game changer in the world. But many people don't know that at some point I had this big issue as far as using my own voice and trust myself when it came to money in many ways. But through the course of some self-development and some own level of growth within myself, I've become very comfortable with asking people for money, serving for money, and receiving money in many ways there. So hopefully today, during our conversation, we can go dig deep into those conversations about our healing thoughts with money and mindset shift with money in many ways.
Great. So when we're talking about, healing over money, because a lot of people, when they're thinking about healing, they're not thinking that they have to get healing over money. So can you talk just a little bit about that? Exactly what does that mean to be healed over money?
Well, I mean, to be healed over money, there are many different facets of that. And if I would say to kind of narrow it down to a couple of main concepts, which is what does money mean for you in your life? I mean, is money this thing you strive for? Is it money a tool? Is money a master? Is money a servant? I mean, we can go so many different routes as far as from a biblical standpoint to a secular route in many ways when it comes to money, right? So what did money mean to you in your life growing up? Because oftentimes we don't realize that we have our money blueprint given to us from birth.
Yeah.
You know, mom and dad might say, hey, money doesn't grow on trees, or hey, you know, I'm not made of money. You know, money's the root of all evil. All these different things we've heard over time. At some point, when we talk about healing our relationship with money, it's been developing the self-awareness to say, you know what, at some point, what does money mean to me? Like, really, what does money really mean to you? And I think for me personally, I had to go through my own journey, realize that money wasn't something I should pursue. Yeah. Money is nothing more than a tool. It is an assistant for the life I want to create for myself. It allows me to serve more people and make a greater difference in many ways. But at one point, money was my master, and I'll be very transparent. I worked paycheck to paycheck, right? I was like, hey, I'm going to work every day to make some money so I can hopefully have enough left over to enjoy myself, you know, on the weekends or whatever time I have off for myself.
So, you know, it's funny because you said, depending on our money blueprint, I know that, you know, money doesn't grow on trees. You know, we don't have enough money. We can't afford this. Even like if you were a true servant of God, you were going to be poor. So you didn't have to have money, and you're just going to believe God for that money, you know, things like that.
And I agree with that. And I'm not here to discount that concept because I'm a man of faith as well there too.
Yeah.
But we would I'm sorry to interrupt you, Esther, but we often sometimes, you know, assume the more pious you are, the more impoverished you are. The more impoverished you are, the more pious you are, whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and that's should not always be the case. Yeah.
Yeah. Many times that's not the case. And I like what you said, that money is really a tool for us to really, I like to say, you know, live that 360 abundance, meaning that it's holistic. Right? Yep. It's not just money, because there's a lot of people that have a lot of money, but they still have a very negative money blueprint, because, you know, you see it all the time with many of our basketball players or football players or lottery winners who've just all of a sudden got all of this money and they're still not happy, or it's gone. Yep. It's really gone. And that is because there's something lacking in their relationship with money. So then how do we even begin to pursue healing, or how do we begin to cultivate a good relationship with money?
Well, one thing you said, and it came to mind when you were talking about this money, people have this negative connotation with money. One thing I've learned over the past 10 years, because professionally in the world, I help people plan for retirement and wealth management, wealth transfer strategies. That's what I do professionally. And what I recognize is that money goes where it's valued and it's respected, right? Let me say that again. Money always goes where it's valued and respected. So
I love that, by the way, Bert. Money always goes where it's valued and respected, you said?
And respected, yes.
So you guys type it in chat. Money always goes where it is valued and respected.
So when you say things like, you know, money is burning a hole in my pocket, or, you know what, I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul, or if I say, hey, look, you know what, I can't hold on to a dollar in many ways to save my life. Those are all energies where you're not respecting and showing value for money. So why would it keep coming back to you in many ways, right? It's hard to attract money if it doesn't see value. But as far as a money blueprint concept, I saw that in the message, whatever. So money blueprint in many ways is the philosophy or the mindset, or whether it's conscious or subconscious, that impacts how you manage money and deal with money in many ways. So your blueprint is your hardware or programming on how you manage money, deal with money, receive money, and interact with money. That is what a blueprint is in many ways, right?
Can you repeat that again, Bert?
So a blueprint, your money blueprint, is how you interact with money, receive money, attract money, and work with money in many ways.
That's good. That's good.
All of those different things will make a huge impact of whether money will be your friend or your foe. We talk about it all the time with our, right? Think about these current times. Now, granted, I understand money's not everything, but it has a big impact. even that statement in itself, money's not everything, means that sometimes I have to be even mindful of my own sometimes hardcore subconscious program that I've had over the years, right? Money is not everything, but money is everything. I put money's up there next to oxygen.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I guarantee you, when you don't have oxygen, you can very tell you it's very hard to breathe. When you don't have money, it's very hard to get a lot of things done in your life. In your life, many ways there too. But your money blueprint starts with a level of self-awareness. So if I give a couple of your viewers and listeners a couple exercises, ask yourself, how did your parents treat money? You know, when you saw money was used in your household, was it used as a form of control, or was it used as a form of punishment?
That's good.
Right?
That's good.
In your upbringing, you know, with money, whether you're a man, a woman, how was money used? Whether you're a different cultural backgrounds, how was money used? Was it something you saw as a tool to build up your community, or did you see it as a way to tear down your community in many ways when it comes to understanding money blueprint? So the key is self-awareness is probably going to be the number one action step for your listeners and watchers realize when it comes to how you manage your money.
Yeah.
And I'll start there, Esther.
Yeah, so let me just read some of the comments. I gotta put my glasses on to read, okay? So some of the comments on Facebook David says, oh, this is real good. And David says, how do I change how I was taught about money from birth? That's his question. How do I change how I was taught about money from birth? This is David's question.
Well, that's a great question. Is it David? So yeah. David, as I would say, great question. How do you address your money blueprint you've been taught from birth? First and foremost, just stop. Just a hard stop and sit down. And it's a simple exercise. It may not be easy, but simple. First off, I would say, what does money mean to you right now? Like what is money? Like when you think about money, think about the emotions it brings to you. Think about the experiences that you've had with the money you've had with money up to this point. Think about the experiences you want to have with the money you are going to attain at some point in many ways. And then that's just your current personal experience you've had with money. And start asking yourself, how does money show up in your life from the past to currently right now? Are some great ways to think about how you can look at your money blueprint. And if you're fortunate, if your parents are still around, or you've had elders in your family that are still around, ask them, hey, what did money mean to them growing up in many ways? Depending on when they were born, and lived, they may come at different times in the world where money was scarce, so they have a very lack mentality. Yeah. Or they may have had a very traumatic experience where maybe at one point they were doing very well financially, and they suddenly lost that source of income. Or so I would say start just documenting what money means, your experience with money, and how it has shown up in your life, and how it's been used in your life as well there too. And all those things will kind of give you a good starting point on how to change your money blueprint.
I know for me, think as you're speaking, and I'm thinking back to my background and my upbringing with how I was brought up with money. And the one thing that I just clearly remember by either being taught directly or indirectly was that money was always used to serve others. Mm-hmm. And so when money came into our household, we did, all of our needs were met and we lived a very good life. But whatever else money, it was always made to serve others. And right. So many times I would always look at money like, well, gosh, you get money just to give it away. And so, mm-hmm. In other words, money was there to meet that basic need, but it was almost like you didn't want to go up there because it's that need. So if you have more right. up there, you're going to give it away.
Right.
Yeah.
So and oftentimes, especially in, I'll say, especially in many Black communities.
Oh yeah.
We
real talk.
We know the importance. We know how to hustle, right? Mm-hmm. We know how to take, as a saying, try to, make a dime out of a nickel, out of 15 cents, whatever, right? As the saying goes, right? And stretch a dollar 15 different ways. So we know how to survive very well. I think we can go say that without saying. We know how to survive very well.
Yeah.
Thriving. I'm gonna say it again. Thriving.
Yes.
And go from thriving to abundance is such a fundamental shift in itself, because it is a level of peace, because you're not having to worry about where every dollar is coming from. Your money flow, income streams are in such a way, your money management is in such a way that You're not worrying about if there's gonna be money next month in some ways. You have enough in the savings or assets or whatever the case may be. But the problem is when you have a survival mindset, you will always go back to the thermostat that you have within yourself.
Ooh, that's
You
good.
will always go back to the thermostat we have within ourselves. So it's a very important, and you know as well as I do, Esther, with the circles you and I get to hang around with, the importance of getting around people who stay and thrive on a
Yeah,
regular, right? Because
yeah,
you are going to be the sum of the five close people around you.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if people around you are used to always surviving, going from nothing against having a job, but going from paycheck to paycheck, or always going from hey, look, trying to find the next hustle move in many ways,
yeah,
you will always stick in survival no matter how hard you try. But the key is to
yeah,
go from survival to thrival. And the next step is go to abundance, where it's like, hey, look,
yeah.
it comes in such waves. I stop counting. I stop with I don't know what payday it is anymore. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly, exactly. And you have to get to the point to where even with your language, your
Mhm.
money language, what you're putting out into the atmosphere, like if you're saying, I got to get my hustle on, I got to do, that's exactly what's going to happen. And so
Mhm.
what happens is, money isn't really attracted to you,
Right.
right?
Right.
When you got to get your hustle on and you're this and you're trying to move. No, money is attracted, I believe, to stability. Money
Yeah.
is attracted to when you know exactly where you need to put. Some people say that, money comes and gosh, it just goes. But there's
Mhm.
a reason why it just goes.
Right. That's because money in some ways is an energy, right? So money you would attract energy, or you would deflect energy in many ways, right? So if you have an energy that attracts money, and as soon as you get it, you let it go very well, then it's not going to stay with you in many ways. So think about money as an energy, and like attracts like. So if you always say I'm in hustle mode, of course, all the time your money's gonna be like, hey, it will always give you just enough. But when you're in thriving mode,
Yes.
it will be more than just enough to get by. When
Yeah.
you're in abundance mode, it will be more than just enough to get on by. You'll have more than you can even imagine. And
Yeah.
then you have to start being mindful of the fact that realizing subconsciously that it is okay to have more than enough. It is not a reflection on who you are as a character. It's not a reflection on who you are as a person. In fact, it makes you have the ability to make more of a greater difference in the world in many ways because you have more than enough to give from. And as we know from our own coach Esther, that we have the capacity to give from our overflow in many more ways than we give from our lack.
That's
And
right.
so
That's right.
we need to understand it's okay to give from our overflow, and it's okay to share from overflow and raise your thermostat in many ways from that standpoint there too. So that's so important. So
Yeah.
important.
I think what you're saying is important that we have to raise our thermostat, to where we are giving from our overflow. And as someone is saying, how do you get to that overflow?
Right.
What are those steps just quickly that you can get from where you are right now, wherever you are right now in terms of your money? How can you get to that overflow?
So I'm gonna start with I call it the science of that, and then we'll talk a little about the art. So the science aspect starts with creating a budget. Like, where does your money go?
Yeah.
Are you aware of money in and money out? It sounds like such a simple concept, but are you tracking your money?
Yeah.
Are you tracking where it's being spent? Um, do you always need to have that extra Starbucks every morning, or do you always need to eat out every single day? How much
Mhm.
money are you actually spending on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis that are necessities, and how many really are luxuries? So that's the science of that. So I'll start there from a science standpoint. Start tracking your money. You can find apps. There are different apps in the marketplace. There are different platforms you can use to track your money going in and out. That's the science part. From the mental mindset standpoint, start. What is your money mantra you're going to create for yourself? That you need to create. That you need to say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna start creating this new energy, this energetic field of money around myself. So I'm gonna start having on a daily basis. What is my money mantra? I'm gonna share myself. So for me, I have one very when I say every morning, I am worthy of abundance. I say it 7 days a week.
Oh
I
yeah.
am I,
Worthy.
I am worthy of abundance.
Oh yeah.
And amazingly, I'm trying to say it's not even amazing. It's not even surprising anymore. This year, in the midst of this crazy world we're current, this pivot, as like term, this pivot right now, I am thriving better. Let me say this, I am thriving better in the midst of this current times we're living in
Yes.
than I've ever had when the economy was at full tilt.
Right. Right.
Because I have shifted my thought process. I am worthy of abundance. So even in the midst of those who maybe having trials and tribulations, I am thriving like I've never thrived before. And I know that's because I have set my mindset and my energy to say I am worthy of abundance. Even in the midst of what appears to be chaos, I'm still thriving. So I would say that's a science part.
So important to speak those affirmations. I am worthy of abundance. I am worthy of abundance. And it's your birthright, right? Mm-hmm. You know, we hear Susie saying wealth is your birthright. And so that's so true. Here's the other piece, Bert, is that, you know, giving back, you know, giving from your overflow. If you want to begin, you know, on that path to where you can move towards abundance, you begin, I like to call it having the heart of a giver. You know, begin to give, begin to speak those positive affirmations, you know, and you can begin to move in that direction. And when you do that, you'll see how your circumstances begin to change. But I will say that I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it does begin in the mind.
Right.
And that's why it's so important for you to speak, so you can hear yourself speaking, so you can put it out in the atmosphere that you are worthy of abundance.
And I'll go one step further, Esther. It starts with your mind, but it ends in your heart.
Yes, yes.
Because as the soul is in your heart, you will radiate that energy out into the rest of the world.
Yes.
You may just start, it may be an intellectual conversation in the beginning.
Yes.
Once it's part of your being, you will begin to radiate that energy out into the world and then begin to attract those opportunities in many ways. So my 2 money mantras are this. One is this: I am worthy of abundance. No, actually it's 3 of them. I am worthy of abundance. You guys can use these. I am worthy of abundance. I am a great steward of my finances.
Yeah.
And third, I attract money and new opportunities easily. I'm gonna say it again if you guys want to write it down. I am worthy of abundance.
Write it down, guys. Write it down. This is good. I use it.
Here's my 3. I am worthy of abundance. I am a great steward of my finances. And the third one is that I attract money and new opportunities easily.
Yeah.
And I can attest all 3 of them. This year, I watched things come my way that were never thought, and some things I've been praying on for years.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah.
Things that manifest in ways, and act as if they're going to happen. Now, I know it's easy to say, act as if they're going to happen, and watch them manifest in many different ways.
It's easy to say it, but can I say, I mean, for those, and I realize not everybody believes like I believe, and that's okay. But it's also very scriptural. You speak those things that are not as though they were. And so that is basically, this is what, you know, it might not be like this right now, but that's it, because that's how it's really attracted to you. And I love how you said that you're a good steward, you know, because when you're a good steward, again, these are all basic foundations, you know, they're all very scriptural. I think that God honors that when you're just a good steward over money. And, you know, I remember at one point in my life, and this was several years ago, and I would go to Dunkin' Donut like 2-3 times a day. And then one day it's like, wait a minute, I decided to count up just in 1 week how much I was spending in coffee and donuts.
Wow.
Just coffee. And it was like over $25 a week. I mean, honestly, I stopped counting after 25.
Wow.
That's a lot, right? Wow. And so when I saw that, Bert, I stopped. And then I just began to do, honestly, I began to look at my budget. I began to look at where my money was going, where it was coming in. And I began to be a better steward, a good steward over my money, right? And then I began to do those affirmations and calling money to me, because I do believe that when you're a good steward and you're doing some things, that money is automatically going to be attracted to you, because number one is that you are respecting it by treating it right. And so you're interacting with money appropriately, correct?
Yeah. So let me share a couple more things. I know, because for the sake of time, I want to honor your time as well there too, Esther. So when we talk about the science part of how do you manifest more money and change your money blueprint, sometimes in this world, we kind of want this all or nothing concept in many ways, right? So we'll say, hey, I'm gonna cut out all my Starbucks for all week. Well, if Starbucks has been a habit for yours for the past 2 or 3 years, to suddenly stop Starbucks is really unrealistic because at some point you'll have a binge with that, right?
Yeah.
So here's what I would do: create a little bit of a jar, or I know nowadays you can do it in a savings account, whatever, right? So if you're going to Starbucks 5 days a week, go 4 days a week, and that extra $20 you might have spent on one day, put it somewhere. Start say, hey, you know what? And over time, okay, I've done it for a month. Okay, next month I'm going to Starbucks 3 days a week. So what you do, you start developing the muscle of budgeting. See, you want to develop the muscle of managing your money.
The muscle, like that.
Because if you don't develop the muscle, what happens is you go cold turkey right away, and your body's gonna sit and say, "Wait a minute, I don't like this. This doesn't feel good. Like this is too hard." And then you give up. You have a sense of defeat with our right. So I think just start building the muscle of managing your money, and before you know it, then it becomes almost second nature in many ways. And still create. I say create a fund money account, whatever, right? Where you can, it is an account where you can use it for whatever you want. You don't feel guilty about it. I don't care if you're going to clothes shopping, shoe shopping, vacation, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I call it me money. Me money.
Yeah, right. Me money.
Yeah, my me money.
Call it a fund account. Call it whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Because that way it gives you a sense of satisfaction that you know that at some point you have money you can use something else going forward there too. But I think I want to just provide that space for you guys to understand some concepts, different things, and some tips. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you'll find those useful. And once money becomes part of who you are, and you change your energy about money, you will be surprised at what you can create and manifest in many ways. And so you're talking about, many things I've said in words are scripture based. I joke about this. The original personal development book, in my beliefs, was the Bible, right?
That's right. That's right.
So many things we read about in these personal development books really are formatted from the Bible in many ways. So
that's right.
It said, there's power of life and death, and the power of the tongue. So I believe in speaking the power of mantras. But my other favorite scriptures is, I always messes up, but Habakkuk 2:2, set the vision, make it plain, right?
Make it plain.
You know what I'm saying? So you can run to it. Although it may tarry, it will come at a surely appointed time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I believe the importance of mantras and making a vision. So I say my mantras, but also write them down every single day. Because that way I can. It gets my mind, body, and spirit in the entire process going forward there too. So that's
good.
That's the bomb I've done today, Esther.
That's good, Bert. Thank you so much. Well, they're loving on you on Facebook, and I think that this was just David again says, somebody says, change your money circle. He says, I love the wealth of information being brought here. That's Moshe. And then there's several other people that's commenting, and they're heartening you up. And so we just appreciate it. I appreciate it so much good information. I'm going to show really quick where you can connect with Bert, right? Where you can follow him on any of his social media platforms. So make sure you get it. I have to tell you guys, he is, I like to say thebomb.com. Is it your first book you just published on?
I did. Number one Amazon bestseller. Yes. Yeah,
but Amazon bestseller. I have the book, got the hard copy. So make sure you guys, everywhere that's on there, make sure that you even get his book on leadership. Wonderful. He is a phenomenal leader. And a lot of what he's speaking and teaching and speaking about money, you see it in his life. And so I encourage you guys to connect to Bert. And so I am so appreciative that you took the time out to join me tonight and just to share your knowledge and your wisdom with my other tribe and community, and hopefully
can I share a couple final comments there, Esther?
Yeah.
First off, Esther, I want to say thank you once again for the opportunity to be on your campus and talk to your audience. In many ways, I don't take it lightly. Obviously, I appreciate that you trust me with your audience and tribe to share some good words. But if I want to leave some final thoughts for the tribe and your audience, is that you have the capacity to change your world. Mm-hmm. And you have the capacity to change legacies of generations in your bloodline.
Yes.
But I always ask the question, when tomorrow comes, will your tomorrow thank you for decisions you made today?
That's good.
And in many ways, your best tomorrow starts with what you do today, no matter how small it may be. Just start with something small, and small becomes more, and more becomes more. I'm sure you know it. It becomes a new lifestyle, and that's how Changing Money Blueprint started for me in many ways. It was just a single step, whatever it may be. It'll start time, and it may not always be easy, but it's doable. And just remember that you are worthy of the life you want for yourself.
That's powerful. That's awesome. Thank you so much. You are worthy. You're worthy of abundance, and take small steps. And I want to encourage you guys as we close to make sure that you share this live and that you listen to it again so you can really make the notes of what Bert, or Mr. Wright, as our coach likes to call him. He's Mr. Wright, guys. He's right about it, right? And so make sure that you listen and you're taking the notes, and begin to take those small steps in adding to your life. So you can take wherever you are right now in your money, in your finances, to that very next level. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. And I will see you on next Monday evening at the same time. And don't forget, Val, if you can put in there my website, my retreat. I'm launching my retreat. It's March 16th to the
I'm excited.
I'm so excited. It's COVID friendly, y'all. It's very COVID friendly. So you will be safe and healthy. So I encourage you to get online. We are at limited space, only very, very small group of ladies we are allowing to come in. And I realize it's not for everyone, but I hope it's for you. If you're ready for change, you're ready to rediscover, re-energize, reset, everything, and to heal and to discover really who you are at a cellular level in every area in 360 holistic abundant living. Join me on March